The overriding trend, Tom, in Europe, I think this year and for the next 5 years is going to be capacity constraint. The manufacturers are way behind on their deliveries. In fact, Boeing left us 29 aircraft short this summer. We're the airline that adds more capacity in Europe than any other airline. So if we're short capacity, we were only able to grow traffic 2% in the September quarter. But we were able to recover all of our last year fares went down by 7%. This year they've gone back up by 7%. So we've recovered last year's fare decline. Kept costs under control. Unit costs are only up 1%. And profits as a result are up 20% to 1.72 billion in the second quarter.
What do fares look like guiding into the current quarter?
They look strong. I mean, we're moving into the winter period now, so we cut capacity, but forward bookings are about 1% ahead of where they were this time last year. And, it looks we're growing increasingly confident that we will hold on to or recover fully that last year's 7% fare decline, that will continue through the year. Although the second half comps are a bit tougher because last year we saw a fare recovery into the second half. But we're pretty confident now that we will recover fully last year's 7% decline.
OK, and on passenger numbers, so you're forecasting there's an increase from 206 million to 207 million. Is that you and the team being conservative, Michael?
No, it's actually, it reflects the fact that Boeing are doing a remarkable job over recent months of delivering us aircraft. Now, they asked us to take aircraft in August, September, October, which is is the wrong time of the year for deliveries because we can't use them. But we said we'll take them just so we secure them for summer 2026. So we have taken 23 of the 29 aircraft they left us short in the last 3 months. There's 2 more coming in November, and then the last 4 arrive in January, February next year. So we are confident now we have all 29 of those aircraft delivered well in advance of summer 26. So next year we'll grow from 207 million this year to 216 million passengers next summer.
215, 216, and that is you're fully confident you get the full 29 by February of next year from Boeing.
Yeah. And the aircraft they're delivering now, much better quality. We're finding no defects in any of the aircraft. I think Kelly Ortenberg, Stephanie Pope doing a really good job. I think Boeing are really getting their act together.
And you've guided on a reasonable, you haven't given a specific number when it comes to guidance, but you've guided on reasonable profit growth.
Yeah, I think so.
What does reasonable profit growth look like?
I mean, look, if traffic is up 7%, in the first half of the year, our traffic is up, profits are up 40%, but that's distorted because we had a weak prior year comp in Easter, only half of Easter was in. So it's difficult to put a number on because it's so heavily dependent on the close-in bookings through Christmas and the New Year period, and then into the spring. So we're not willing to put a number on it now, other than to say, look, traffic, we're growing faster than we thought we would. It'll be 207 million. That's about 3% traffic growth. Profit, we think there'll be a reasonable profit recovery, but I'm not going to put a number on it.
And the winter number, you've said 1% increase over that, or the current quarter, 1% increase on the same quarter last year. Is that right? 1% increase?
No,
in the current quarter?
No.
What are you looking at then for the winter season in terms of booking numbers?
Also, in terms of we expect that traffic will continue to. There's a reasonable prospect now we're going to grow 3%, maybe we might get to 4%. It's from 200 to 207 million now, so we've got 3.5% growth for the full year.
The MAX 10 certification, we've got a time frame now, mid-2026. How confident are you, particularly given the government shutdown in the US? I mean,
the government shutdown will be over well before that. I mean, Boeing say they're making very good progress. We've heard that back from the European agencies as well. EASA are saying that, it looks in good shape. The critical thing, as long as it gets certified, the MAX 7, MAX 10 in the middle of 2026, our first deliveries aren't until the spring of 27. And Boeing have written to us confirming that they'll meet those delivery dates. So we're pretty confident now that we'll get our first 15 MAX 10s in the spring of 2027.
And if that time frame slips, what does that mean for growth plans?
It just means our growth will slip a little bit. But I think I'd be more optimistic now. I think we'll be bringing it forward a little bit. I think we'll do 216 million passengers in summer 26, which is FY March 27. And then we start into an order book of 300 MAX 10s out to 2034 that will see us grow traffic from 207 million this year to over 300 million passengers. So we're at the dawn of a very exciting growth period for Ryanair. Ryanair. The good news as well this morning is we've hedged fuel out into next year. So we were able to jump on some of the recent fuel weakness. This year we're hedged to March 26 at $76 a barrel. This morning we've announced we're now 80% hedged to March 27, but at just under $67 a barrel. So about a 10% saving on our fuel costs next year. We banked that. It means we can offer our passengers lower fares and really accelerate growth with the 29 new aircraft we now have from Boeing.
Okay, and at a time when OPEC Plus has said that it's going to be putting less oil on the market in early next year, with prices slightly picking up in the session today. Yeah. You've been cutting routes in Germany and Spain, adding new routes to Sweden and Hungary. Yeah. Is there ability for Sweden, Hungary, and other nations outside of the core markets like Germany and Spain to absorb more of those routes?
No
does
question.
that continue?
I mean, the trend across Europe, Tom, is you have a consolidation going on between the legacies. So Lufthansa has bought what was Alitalia. Lufthansa, Air France, IAG are all queuing up to buy TAP. They're all cutting capacity. And there's a real, if you like, schizophrenia in Europe. You have most of the growth economies, Sweden, Croatia, Hungary, Italy, have worked out, are abolishing their environmental taxes on air travel because they're, if you like, a break on growth, and they're being rewarded with dramatic growth. We're switching capacity to those countries. The three countries who don't get it are the dumb Germans, the stupid French, and Rachel Reeves, who, got elected a year ago here in the UK on a campaign to deliver growth. We wrote to her, said, congratulations, abolish APD, if not across the UK, at least outside of London, abolish the APD in regional UK, and we will give you 50% traffic growth in 5 years. What does she do? She puts it up by £2. I mean, she hasn't a rashers how to deliver growth. She puts up employment taxes, puts up APD. APD is going up in the UK by £2. Mm-hmm. We wrote to the Treasury and said, this is the dumbest idea even you lot have come up with. I got back a stupid letter from a Treasury Minister saying, a £2 increase in APD is only a 1% increase on average fares. Clearly, the Treasury are paying average fares of £200 for their air travel. They must all be travelling with BA. Our average fare is £45. APD in April will go to £14 at 33% rate of tax.
We're talking about air passenger duty.
Air passenger duty. And they are killing the region. So all of the airlines here in the UK have said, if you put up APD, we will switch capacity out of regional UK, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Manchester, Birmingham, airports that are not full, and they'll move to those countries like Sweden, like Italy, like Hungary, like Albania, where they're abolishing environmental taxes.
So I guess the Chancellor would say, look, we need to raise taxes from somewhere. The airline sector, Ryanair, is doing very well. We've seen that in the results today. If she raises again the budget November the 26th, if she targets airlines again with increases in duty, what does that mean?
More capacity, more flights, more aircraft, and more jobs will move from the UK.
What specifically would you do?
Specifically, we'll take about 10% of our capacity, and we're the largest airline in the UK. We'll switch about 10% of our capacity, about 5 million seats, out of the UK into those countries, Sweden, Italy, reward those countries who are abolishing environmental taxes. And eventually, even a dumb Labour government will work out that for an island on the periphery of Europe, the way to grow and the way to increase tax revenue is to get tourists onto the island first and then tax them with VAT, hotel taxes, whatever it is. But the way to grow is not by increasing the entry taxes, which is what APD is. This is the dumbest government. I mean, you've had some dumb governments here in the UK, Brexit being the most spectacular economic own goal of the last 10 or 15 years. So it's not like the Tories were anything to write home about. But Labour should have come in here with a growth policy, abolish APD, maybe not in London because the London airports are full, but there is enormous growth available in those red wall seats in regional UK, abolish APD.
I'm sure the Chancellor would make the point she's giving in terms of regulatory approval for airport and runway growth. That's coming through, and the fact that they had to. I'm sure the Chancellor would also say that they have to repair the fiscal damage that they would claim the Conservative government inflicted on this economy over 12 years, and that the options for this current government are limited within the fiscal constraints, of course, that they face. I'm sure that would be part of the pushback from the UK Chancellor.
There were her fiscal constraints. Two, she got elected on a programme to deliver growth, that the way out of this was to grow.
I'm sure she would also point out that the UK is growing faster than most other OECD countries.
It's actually growing slower than most OECD countries at the moment, and it will probably grow even slower when she raises taxes on employment and on air travel yet again. You cannot be an island on the periphery of Europe and decide that the way forward here is tax people coming to the UK because they'll just go to Europe instead. there is a way forward here. Abolish APD, certainly on the airports outside of London, and you will be rewarded with dramatic growth, which will be self-financing because the spend of those tourists in VAT, hotel nights, etc., will pay for itself.